myself again, but it's the only way.
Good morning. Welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith, and delighted to say, joined by Holly Blades. How are you, Holly?
Very good after that result, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, well, I predicted a draw, and you know, it was certainly a draw, a score draw. Happy with that point. Unfortunately, due to my mum's ill health, I didn't get down there, but you did. First of all, how was the journey, Holly? Because I mean, we were concerned about, you know, getting there. We went through this whole shenanigans with the bad weather and the Arsenal game, and we got there with about 2 minutes to spare. But by the look of your social media and your dad's social media, you got there with a little bit of time to spare, and then you enjoyed the game. Tell us about the journey down.
The journey down was okay. Thankfully, we were on the earlier trains. We were on the 1 minute to 6 train, and that was run fine. No problems at all. The train after us got cancelled, and I know quite a few Newcastle fans were on that. So they had a bit of a nightmare. I think they had to go to York and then make their way from there or something. But yeah, for us, it was fine. Everyone enjoying themselves, and we got there just before 10 o'clock, I think. So it was really, really good timing.
Oh, excellent. And the match itself, it was a good one by the looks of it. It was a battle of two teams that looked as if they were competing for Europe. Of course, Newcastle still, you know, got a relegation fight on their hands, although they're giving themselves a great chance of getting out of it now. And West Ham, of course, chasing the Champions League spot. And that draw probably didn't do them much of a favour on that score. But what was the game like?
Yeah, we embarrassed West Ham, in my opinion. I think a draw was a fair result, to be honest, but I think Newcastle was slightly the better team, and considering we're 17th in the league and they were 4th, I believe they're now 5th in the league, you know, it genuinely looked like there was nothing between those teams, and we played so well. I think the thing with Newcastle is we didn't allow them to play. We were constantly hitting them on the counter-attack, cancelling them out, and, you know, it was just a really, really good performance from Newcastle. Defensively, we did very, very well. The midfield shone again. You know, it was one of those games where you think, you know, you're proud to be there supporting them, because ultimately they tried their hardest. We could have nicked the win in the end. I saw Eddie Howe come out and say he wished we'd got the 3 points. I think that's such an excellent mentality. But for me, I think the point was great. And then hopefully we can get something against Brentford.
Who was your man of the match then?
I think there was a few players that stood out. I think Joe Willock's got to be in the running, obviously.
Now that's a hell of a turnaround from last week.
Yeah, it is, definitely. Look, Joe Willock, he did very, very well leading up to that goal. He was, you know, he was brilliant, and then he got that goal. I think that's exactly what he needed, because we have seen a slight improvement from Joe Willock, probably from January time, but I feel like he needed to add those goals back into his game to get him back to that Joe Linton that we originally signed in January last year, and obviously that's going to help him out a lot. So I think that hopefully goes on to improving games. So, you know, Joe Willock did very, very well. I think Dan Burn did well in the defence again. To be honest, I think the defence across the park was very good. Target did, you know, well. And yeah, I don't think there's anyone I could particularly fault, really. But I think Joe Willock's got to be the standout man for me.
It was a big shock to see St Maximin not playing. I did laugh. There was loads of conspiracy theories and people saying he took time off himself, and Eddie Howe wasn't happy. You can tell by the way he looks on the television interviews and this, that, and the other. And then ASM had to go back, you know, calling somebody who'd put that on Twitter a detective. I mean, it's unfortunate, but to go to West Ham, who are challenging for Champions League. And as you said, you felt we embarrassed them, which tells you how well I think we've played. But we did it without Callum Wilson. We did it without ASM. We did it without Trippier. 3 key players who were missing yesterday. And we still, you know, look as if we've got the mentality now to get out of this relegation battle.
Yeah, we do. Look, if you can go down to one of the best teams in the league currently and get a point away, then I think you're capable of doing pretty much anything. We've got a few winnable games coming up until around April time, and I think we'll make the most of them. You know, I've got every confidence that we'll keep on this run of form. Unbeaten in 6 games now, it's fantastic. And I think Eddie Howe's really instilled a fighting mentality into the players. I think the new signings have made a massive impact. It's pushed on the older players to step up because they don't want to lose their place in the team, to the new signings. So I think overall Eddie Howe's just had a brilliant effect on the team.
Declan Rice was getting a big write up before the match. You know, I mean, obviously we know England international. He's the cornerstone of their midfield. What kind of game did he have? Did he look as if he was, you know, one of the world's best players that the Southern media would lead us to believe?
Not for me. I don't think he looks like he was one of the world's best players. Not really. Didn't stand out much. I don't think he was bad. I think he was all right. But for me, no. I don't think he was any better than some of the players we had in midfield. And obviously, there's always been this ongoing thing with Declan Rice with Newcastle, because a few years ago, I know it was kind of a battle between who should get the England call-up, Sean Longstaff or Declan Rice. I think they made the right call there, by the way. But yeah, Declan Rice, he's a good midfielder. He's not an excellent one, in my opinion.
Okay, I've got to ask you this question. I've got a feeling I know the answer. I've only managed to see match of the day. I was at the hospital, as I say, yesterday, visiting my mum. But the performance of Chris Wood was talked about and highlighted on match of the day. He needs a bit of luck. It looked as if it was probably his worst performance in a black and white shirt, that one yesterday.
Yeah, Chris Wood, look, I think the one thing that he did do, like he's consistently done since he joined Newcastle, he did try, and you could see him trying to get the ball, shouting for the ball, trying to get in those positions. But I think obviously with pace not being in his favour, he was struggling because the players were looking to whip the ball into the box and he was, half a yard behind. He wasn't going to make it in time. So it was difficult for Chris Wood. But yeah, he did struggle, didn't really give us much of a goal threat. And I think it's just unfortunate because I think with the current formation and the current players he's playing alongside, it's just not suiting him well.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, as I say, I didn't see the game yesterday, could only catch the highlights, but he just needs that little bit of luck. He needs the bit of luck that Willock's got now. Willock's got that goal, I expect, and I said this last week and the week before, Willock was progressively getting better from the Leeds game. You could see that, Eddie Howe's dedicated a bit of time to him. And the fact that he's keeping Bruno out of the team, the fact that Bruno has come and was hoping probably to be, first choice and straight in has not happened. And that's benefited Willock, and his confidence will be sky high. And listening to the interview that he did on BT, I managed to see that. He said exactly that. Eddie Howe is he's a great manager. He's somebody who's dedicated a lot of time. I've got a lot of time and respect for him, and so has everybody in the dressing room. And you can see that. And I was just so pleased that Willock got his goal, and I hope that now leads on to him getting a good run in like he did last season. So fingers crossed. But I still think Chris Wood will come good. He might have to wait that little bit longer. He might have to wait until Callum Wilson is back. I think Callum Wilson and Chris Wood will play well together. I think the big man, little man up front, I think Newcastle will benefit massively from that. And hey, as I say, I think Wood will still grab one or two goals, which will be quite key this season. We'll just have to watch this space. I did laugh at that tweet that we put on the Three Amigos though this week, which was in 12 months' time, Mbappe will be coming on in the last 5 minutes for Chris Wood. Thought that was brilliant. All right, let's get into the chat. Great to see so many watching at this time in the morning. Just a quick update on my mum as well. I've got to be honest, I went to hospital yesterday. I'm so glad I did. I gave up my ticket for the West Ham game. My mum was up and about, like as in sitting up in the bed, and she was holding court. So although I know that she hasn't got much longer on this earth, at least we had some quality time. Going to go in again today to see her. But thanks to everybody in the chat and on social media for all their positive wishes. It does mean a lot. And people saying that, Holly said it to us as well, amazed that you're still doing the show and cracking on. Keeping busy is the best way to be when you're in that circumstance. And if there's anybody else out there going through it, then, that's what you have to do. You keep busy, keep occupied. It does no good sitting around moping around at home. Just keep busy. Do what you need to do what you can do. People are there to help. Don't be afraid to reach out. And, being lucky that people like Holly and Steve Hasty and Mitch and, the list is endless. Even people who I don't know, only know them as as an image on Twitter or Facebook, have inboxed us and said, Steve, I'm here if you need a chat or whatever. People from me past, have come back and, people just saying, oh, look, heard the bad news. And, it's great. Thank you very much for that. I've replied to everybody, as I always try to do. And just want to say thank you to everybody for that. And we'll crack on. I'm feeling a lot more positive, and we take each day as it comes. But thanks to everybody for the support. Tom, we'll start with you, as we often do, Tom. You're always usually the first in. He goes, what's your thoughts on Joe Willock yesterday? I think he had a cracking performance and took his goal well. We've discussed it, yeah. And I mean, look, it's great to see. We know that it's great to see, Tom, and we just want to hope that it continues, because if he's continuing to play well, the team will continue to play well. John says, good morning all. Totally agree, Tom Dixon, but a big problem going forward is how to get Bruno involved. He's probably our best player, might soon get a bit hacked off with the lack of game time. Do you think he's going to get hacked off? I don't think he will. I think he's a professional footballer. He clearly sees that since he's been signed, Newcastle haven't lost a game. And, he will take his chance when he gets it, won't he?
Yeah, and I think Bruno's got a big future at Newcastle. I think he's a very exciting player going forward. But I think obviously now, with the midfield doing well, it would be unfair for Eddie Howe to drop one of the players, because, just because we've signed someone for X amount of money, it doesn't mean you can just say, right, well, you're going on the bench. And then imagine if Bruno did play and didn't do as well as one of those players, it would be totally, ridiculous. And then people would be having a go at Eddie Howe. So I think what we need to do is just probably gradually ease him into the side, give him more and more game time across the season. And I don't think we'll see him play a big part this season. Potentially next season's when he'll get his chance to really show what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of games to be played though, and as we know, suspensions, injuries, you name it, can happen, and that'll be when he gets his chance, and it'll be an injury to Joe Linton, or a suspension to Joe Linton, or Shelby, or it'll be one of the big players, and or unless they go on a horrendous run of form, that's when it'll happen. So, we've got to have a bit of patience. But when he does play, I think it'll be very difficult for the person who loses their spot to get back in. And that's great. Competition is what we need. Geordie Toon for Life, thank you for your messages. I have read them all. Good morning, Stephen Holly. Great performance from the lads. We have such spirit and desire in games. What a difference Eddie Howe has made. They said we couldn't play a back four. Are you sure? You're right, Geordie Toon for Life. The formation was one of those things that hacked us off, I think, the most about Steve Bruce. He came in, he tried to go for something different. He then reverted back to doing what Rafa's team had been doing prior to him arriving. And he just was devoid of all ideas and clearly lost interest, didn't have the team training. So formations, well, we knew more about tic-tacs and tactics, I think was what we used to say. But yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, that with a coach, manager, whatever you want to call him in Eddie Howe, we've just got somebody who has got such an enthusiasm, such a great work rate. He's up there with Adam Pearson, work rate unmatched, Ollie. But, honestly, joking aside, Eddie Howe is one of those people who you're just proud to have him as your manager, and playing 4-4-2 for him must be an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I can't sing Eddie Howe's praises high enough. He took the job in such difficult circumstances, and then he's done brilliantly. And I think as well with this January transfer window, and although it's only been 3 weeks or something like that since he's had some of the players, I think that he's just really, really shown that he knows what he's doing. He signed these players, they've fit well into the side, and it's encourage the other players to do better. He's just got this outstanding mentality as well. Like I mentioned earlier, we get a point. Steve Bruce would have been celebrating like we probably won the league, but Eddie Howe's going, actually, I wish we got the 3 points. And although all the fans were happy, I think that just shows he's constantly striving to do better. He's ambitious, and that's exactly what we need at Newcastle. And it fits where we're going right now. It fits what the owners want, ambition.
Yeah, John from QTech says the team spirit that Eddie has created looks to be like the Keegan era. It's great to see. It does. And I mean, you can hear it. I mean, you see the interviews that Joe Shelby's given this week. He's so positive. He's, and he was saying that the atmosphere around not just the club, but the city is bouncing. And Joe Shelby says, I think we'll go on to get more points and stay safe.
Yeah, Joe Shelby is a player that's, he's had his ups and downs at Newcastle, but since Eddie Howe came in, he's been brilliant. I don't think he's had maybe 1 or 2 games that I can count where he hasn't been the best, but he still hasn't been bad. But genuinely in the midfield, he's probably been one of the best players. I mean, his passing is second to none. He did it again against West Ham. Some of the passes he was picking out, I think most of the players on the ball that have no chance of doing those type of passes, and Joe Shelby's just constantly with it. So I think he's massively improved. And again, it's great to see senior players who've been at the club a long time not kind of losing that fight, because it'd be easy to say, I've been here for X amount of years, getting a bit bored, but he doesn't, and he's wanting to keep his place in the side.
John Askew says, Eddie on for manager of the month. He's got to be, hasn't he?
Surely. I mean, 6 unbeaten. I don't think anyone's really done much better.
No, it'd be fantastic to see that. I'm not sure whether whether it still has a bit of a curse around it though. That when you get the Manager of the Month award, you lose your next game. But look, it'd be fantastic. Can I just ask? Maybe we'll get it after the game with Brighton at home, and once we've beaten Brentford and we've beaten Brighton, he can get it then. It gives us a little bit of a cushion, hopefully. Vince Smith. Chris Wood meowing at Zuma class. Now, if that is true, I've seen this, and I'd love to know how this became a fact. I think it was a guy called Sean Casey, who I know has been unloaded. I've never met him, never spoken to him, never really interacted with him a great deal, but he is on Twitter. This came from his account, I think, and then was repeated more and more and more by loads of people. So it's almost become a truth. A bit like other things that we've heard over the last couple of weeks. It's stuff which builds morale. We love to hear it. If that's true, then fair play to him. I mean, it is funny. It's a kind of banter that happens on a football pitch, Holly.
Yeah, it is. I saw that story last night, and again, I don't know how people know that's true, but if it is, then it is really, really funny. And I think it probably would have been getting under Kurt Zuma's skin. I mean, the whole away end, they had the inflatable cats, and everyone was just on his back all day.
Brilliant. Andy, the WhatsApp group I was in, we're not very happy with Kraft. A shame Kraft gave away the free kick. They hardly had any chances apart from that. What was Kraft like? Because on the shows this week, various people have got various opinions about Kraft, but Trippier's injured, Manquillo's out. We think Manquillo should be fit for Brentford. Did Kraft come in and do okay apart from giving away that free kick?
He probably did okay. I wasn't impressed with him. I think it certainly showed the fact that we missed Kieran Trippier. And I know that obviously when he got injured, we were like, we've got a couple of players to cover him, like it should be fine. But we did miss him in that game. And obviously we got the result in the end, which is the most important thing. But Kieran Trippier just has that touch of class that, someone like Emil Kraft doesn't really have. Gave away that free kick, which was disappointing. I think he had a couple of other mistakes in the game, which didn't really lead to any major consequences. So I suppose it's nothing to complain about. But he did all right. He did do okay, but I just think we definitely do miss Kieran Trippier, and I hope he's back not too long. I'm hoping it's no longer than a few weeks, but I don't think we'll be that lucky.
No, me neither. But the team certainly got the bit between the teeth, and that's good to hear from our perspective. And I think just don't get on people's backs. WhatsApp groups, where you're having a bit crap between your mates, fine. Just don't do it at the match. Get behind everybody. That's the one thing that's carrying us through as well. Look how proud the players are to come and play. They're coming in and applauding everybody at the away games, and the home games, giving their shirts away. And there's a bond there between us and the team. It's a different atmosphere. We'll keep banging on about it, but it's a different atmosphere now. It's got that full on 1990s feel again. And I was lucky enough to be part of that. And if we're getting the same again, then just enjoy it. Less the negativity on certain players. They've got a black and white shirt on, they'll give 100%. That free kick they give away, yeah, but sounds like he wasn't too bad, and he's doing a job for the team. 2 points dropped, 3 points won if Bruno replaced Murphy, says Simon. It's a point earned. I would have been happy with 4 points out of these two games. Now looking at Brentford and Brighton, you won 6 points. You get 6 points out of them. Wow. Forget about the other results. As long as you keep getting your results, that's all that matters. Canny match, canny battle, says Roger. We were belted, to be fair, says Paul Keza. I think the old Willock is back, says Andrew. And I would agree, I say, but the games that I've been to from Leeds onwards, definitely, he's definitely back, and that is great. Steve says he thought Murphy did well. Yeah, that was a big shock, and that was a big shock to see Murphy in, wasn't it? But fair play, he came in, and I think that's credit to Howard Gain and to Jason Tyndall. The players that are coming in don't look out of place. They know what the team shape is. They know what the formation is. They know what their job is, and that comes down to the management.
Definitely, and speaking to a few people before the game, one or two was disappointed to see Jacob Murphy, and they were thinking, I'd rather see someone like Bruno come in and switch the formation around a little bit. But I think Jacob Murphy, I think he improved a lot in the second half as well. I think it took a little bit of time for him to adjust in the first half, but he still did all right. And then I think in the second half, he did even better. And Jacob Murphy's someone that has consistently done well, I think, for probably the past year. So to see him come in and do well is great.
And the thing is with Murphy, he's black and white through and through. He's a Newcastle fan. And I know people, sometimes raise their eyebrows and go, well, he's a Newcastle fan, but he wasn't very good. But he'll run through a brick wall for you, Murphy. And he's come up with a couple of crucial goals. He's come up with a couple of good assists over the years. Give him a chance. Give him a chance and let him work with Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe's getting the best out of some players that would never have done anything at this club and would have been surplus to requirements. Joe Linton springs to mind straight away. He's getting the best out of players, and that's what Rafa did. Rafa came in and got the best out of some pretty average players, and managed to get us back up the table, get us back in the Premier League after the relegation, and that's all you want. Somebody who's going to try, and Murphy certainly did that. John says, they're still banging on about our owners on Sky Sports. It's time for it to stop. Chelsea are owned 100% by a Russian. They never mentioned human rights. Come on, man. Yeah, it's getting a bit repetitive and a bit boring now, isn't it? This whole Saudi, challenging the Saudis. The deal's done. The takeover's done. Newcastle are cracking on. There never seems to be a week goes by when somebody isn't having a pop at our owners.
It's just jealousy, I think. Obviously, when you see Newcastle come along, richest club in the world, starting to do well in the league, people aren't happy. But for me, I just tend to not really read it. If I know the specific kind of journalists or media people that are constantly repeating that agenda, I kind of just block them or mute them and don't read what they've got to say, because it is just annoying. All we care about is Newcastle doing well. We're not really bothered generally as football fans about politics and God knows what else they're banging on about. It's not our concern.
Muting and blocking. I've done a bit of that this week. Believe you me. Rachel says, amazing amount of possession, 53%. When have we last seen a percentage like that? Yeah, I remember covering the match day lives on this channel, and we were joking, weren't we? Steve Bruce's percentage levels, 17, 18, 19%. But as Jeff says, 70% odd in the first half. It was close to 65, I think, at one point when I saw it. So if it got to 70, wow. Simon, I can't comment on this because I wasn't at the match, and when you're not at the game, it's very difficult to give a true assessment of things. But if you say you ran into blind alleys and dead ends, Murphy, and that Bruno would have created or scored a goal, big difference, then, I've got to bout your better judgment because I wasn't there. So I don't know. But look, yeah, Bruno will get a chance. I think Eddie Howe is just carefully guiding that situation. And I think the last thing you would want him to do is come in and not have an effect. And then, there'll be question marks. I think his time will come. I think Holly's ideas of Bruno's season is next season. I agree. I think he'll be a first team starter next season. But there will be a situation that will develop this season, which will see him get in. And then it's up to him to keep his place. And that's what builds a great team. That's what builds winning teams. Competition. You need a good backup goalkeeper to your first goalkeeper. You need a good couple of right backs, a good couple of left backs, really 4 good centre halves. You need cover all the way across the midfield. And you need a couple of strikers and a couple of goal scorers. That's what you need. So that will happen. Newcastle will get to that stage. But yeah, look, Bruno will have his day, 100%.
And just going off that comment as well, I think with Eddie Howe, he'll want to play Jacob Murphy because obviously he's a local player. He's been at the club for a few years. He sticks in. And when you think you've got a chance of scraping a point or whatever against West Ham, which is brilliant, you want those type of players in. If you bring Bruno in, we haven't fully seen him, play a full game or anything yet. Yeah, he might create more play and stuff, but it is taking that risk of, potentially losing that lead. And I'm not saying he would, but it is taking that risk. And when you've got someone that's experienced and grafts hard, it just makes you more comfortable, in my opinion.
Yeah, great performance by the whole team, but Murphy's frustrating with his crosses and shots on goal. Yeah. West Ham 20 points ahead. Yeah. Big Dan Burn wiped Bone out. Class. Yeah. What was Big Dan Burn like? Desperate Dan, as some people have called him.
Listen, he was brilliant. I said at the start of the show, he did well again. Just another very, very solid performance. It looks like he's, always been a part of the side. Everything you wanted him to do well, he did well. And I think he stood out in the defence once again. Got a rendition of Dan Burn. He's one of our own, which I know he would have appreciated a lot. And look, I think he's going to be fantastic this season.
Big shout out to Del Lovell. The mighty Southampton Football Club done you a favour yesterday, he says, when they destroyed the Toffees. GGM Del. Gangster and Gangland memorabilia. Great page on Facebook if you're into that kind of thing. Get yourself over there. Dell runs it. I used to be an admin on there. Had some great times. But Dell's a good lad, and yes, Southampton fan. He's red and white through and through, but the proper red and white, not the copies down at the Stadium of Light. But yeah, you're right. Everton are right in the mix now. They really are. Frank Lampard is scratching his head. Tyrannosaurus Rex hands had another mare with nobody giving him any stick, but it's not looking good for them. It's looking even worse for Brentford. And as we always know in relegation battles, these teams get dragged into it. Brentford are right in it. If we can go down there next week and get 3 points against Brentford, they are right in a mess. And Everton, as I say, we're level on points with Everton. Yeah, they've got a game in hand, but it's not plain sailing. It's there's a few teams in the mix now. So thanks to Southampton for that. Can anyone tell me how you can stick up for Kraft, says Gary. It was good to meet you at the Dog and Parrot the other week, by the way. After giving away the free kick for West Ham, their goal, and no tackles won, I would play Dummett ahead of Kraft. I guess it's because that's his natural position, Gary. And I don't think people are sticking up for him. I just think ultimately you've got to go at Eddie Howe's judgment. And Eddie Howe's picked a team which he believed could get the points at West Ham, who are 20 points ahead, as Jeff mentioned, who are chasing Champions League football. And we've come back with a point. Now, I think if you'd asked Holly and her dad and the other 2,998 mags who were travelling down yesterday, would you be happy with a point at West Ham today? They would probably have snapped your hands off. So Eddie Howe's picked them and we've got a draw. And, I don't think it's a case of defending. Stop thinking of the team as individuals like we did under Steve Bruce. Think of the team as a collective. It's a team. You're supporting it. The 11 people who've got the shirt on at the particular time, get behind them. We'll get it. People like Kraft, etc., will be a distant memory. If Newcastle stay up, or should I say, when Newcastle stay up, those players will be a distant memory and we won't have to have these conversations. Let's just get behind them. Let's back them. And let's make sure we stay up. That's what we've got to do. Love the reports that Wilson kept saying meow, meow into the cat kicker's face. It wasn't Wilson, Ian, it was Wood, apparently. Is everyone now joining the positivity cult, says Rachel? I think so. Holly is smiling, which she doesn't often do on these shows because we've had so much dire football until Eddie Howe came in. You've got to be more confident now, Holly, about staying up, I think.
Yeah, if we win against Brentford and we win against Brighton, then I'll pretty much say that we're safe.
Even 4 points out of those two games would be fantastic because the other results could go against us. But I'd prefer 6. Another draw next week wouldn't be a bad result against Brentford as long as you win your home games. And if you can beat Brighton, fantastic. But I think Newcastle's got more than enough to go to Brentford and win next week. So I was in the positivity cult a lot longer than Holly was, Rachel. Remember that when we see it at the end of season due in June. Paul Sprague says, Willock, man of the match for me. If Wilson was playing yesterday, we would have won that game. Got to agree. We're missing that person with the golden touch. Acabalictic Workshop says, Rice is another overrated English player. Yeah, I liked him. I've got to be honest. I think he would do okay. I thought he would do well at Newcastle. I think him under Eddie Howe would do really well. I think he'd be a good little player. But yeah, West Ham, he's the golden child, and Declan Rice did get great setting Willock up for the goal, says Vince. John says we had all this. The team's a great crap from Bruce when we were facing them. Just shows set up with a plan and a couple of decent acquisitions, and we can compete with the teams at the top. Okay, half an hour mark, and so we'll have the ads. Thanks to all our sponsors. First up, Spider VPN for all your internet security. Google Spider VPN. They are the boys to trust. They come up at the top of the Google network search. Thanks also to skipsandbins.com. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy, contract free and pay as you go. Waste collection. Thanks also to L&G Family Funeral Directors 0191 389 7245. And to Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD, hemp and cannabinoid specialists, www.thegohd.com. Thanks to Arcot Interiors. You can Google them and they come up at the top of the search list also. You can also find them on Heaton Road and they are currently hiring and looking for fitters. So contact Arcot Interiors if you are available to help them with that particular trade. qtechshop.co.uk are the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and also the guys who run our website. Jab Signature, you can find them at jabsignature.co.uk. Thanks to Media Arts for all of our video editing. And thank you to newworkwear.com, the specialists in the supply and branding of clothing for the workplace, for providing me with my new jacket. And if you want to subscribe to the show, hit the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner and you can subscribe for free. We still do 7 shows a week and we do some true crime stuff as well. Hit the thumb up under the video to like the video, click share to your social media, and drop into the comments box to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans or to leave a question. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you put your phone over this QR code, it will take you straight to our website and you become a Newcastle and NUFC Matters member. You get a cup, you get a pen, you get a scarf, and entered into our monthly draw where you can win some fantastic prizes. We also do live events, and each pre-match and post-match you can find us at the Dog and Parrot, and Super Mac gives us a talk about the game ahead. There is good beer, and there is good music, and there is a pool table, and kids are welcome. So get yourself along to the Dog and Parrot each match day in Newcastle City Centre. We also support the food bank on this channel, nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk. You can find the Matchday Bucket, which is operational 365 days of the year, and you can make a virtual deposit. If you want to find us on Facebook, then just search NUFC Matters. We have a page and a group. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, search Steve Wraith. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, search @Steve Wraith. Some tragic news coming in this morning. This year really just doesn't get any better, does it? Steve Black has passed away, of course, connected with Newcastle United and with Newcastle Falcons over the years. The man who helped build Johnny Wilkinson into the World Cup winning legend that he is. He also played a big part, of course, in the psychology side of Kevin Keegan's entertainers era. And used to be down at Tynemouth Beach training the lads. Fantastic guy, personally. I knew him from my days on the doors in Newcastle, and got to meet him on a regular basis when I was involved with Sport Newcastle. And of course, we've lost earlier this year Malcolm Dix, the man who set up Sport Newcastle. Steve Black, Blackie as he was affectionately known, passed away. He was 64. So very sad news, Blackie. And I'm sure the Newcastle United fan base will be paying their own tributes. I've seen Alan Shearer just put something out there. That's Blackie on the right-hand side. So very sad news. 2022, the year that just keeps on disappointing us in so many different ways. Mark Pearson says the levels of fitness has played a huge part in our resurgence. It makes a huge difference at this level. Geordie Toompa Life says, great assist from Wraith for our goal. Credit where credit is due. Sean says, great performance yesterday. The mentality at the moment is phenomenal. Can we talk about John Joe since Howe came in? He's really turned a corner, in my opinion. Of course we can. John Joe Shelby, somebody who has been lambasted, and rightly so, on this channel for many a year, is basically just grown up. Something's happened since Howe came in. I don't know what it is, but you know, he's been fantastic, Shelby. He's been absolutely brilliant.
Definitely, and I think it is, you're right, the case of maturing and the mentality that's changed within John Joe Shelby, because there's been no doubt in my mind that he's always been a talented player and had plenty of skill. It was just his attitude that always caused problems for him, you know, like the manager would criticise him or even just give him some like constructive criticism, and he would seem to have a big tantrum about it and then start to just play worse. But under Eddie Howe, he's fought to keep his place in the team. He's constantly showing a good attitude, speaking well in interviews, and he's played absolutely fantastically. So I think you can't give him enough credit.
No, definitely can't. Michael says, good wins for Burnley and Watford. Having said that, we should be chasing Everton and Brentford in the coming weeks. The positivity in the squad is encouraging. Happy old man here. Michael, I've got to agree. We're looking up now. And that was what John Joe said on Match of the Day's interview last night. You know, we're looking up. We're not looking behind. We're looking up. And that ultimately is great. And yeah, well done, Burnley. They're not going to give in without a fight. Watford, of course, with the elder statesman, Roy Hodgson down there getting up, getting a 1-0 win. It's and there's teams around us. There's always one or two teams that could drop, you know, and Leeds aren't out of this yet. Everton aren't out of this. Brentford aren't out of it. You know, it could be the case that Norwich might have two other teams joining them down there pretty soon. It's going to be a hell of a run into the season, but we just got to concentrate on what we're doing. Wood needs a go. Confidence needs that boost. Roger, 100%, mate. Definitely agree with that. I hope after the summer acquisitions, we can have the Keegan attitude of shooting for the stars next season, like when we finished third after promotion. John, never say never, mate. Never say never. It's a different club now. It's a different club. And the summer transfer window is going to be eagerly anticipated by Newcastle United fans. Why have Gale on the bench? It's baffling. Never used at all, just taking a squad place up, to be honest, says Steve Middlemas. Again, we've discussed this before, Holly. It is crazy, isn't it, having Gale there? And he never gets on.
No, he doesn't. It's really, really strange situation with Gale. It has been for a few years. But I think we've seen a consistent pattern across three managers. I think he fell out of favour with Rafa Benitez. I don't think Steve Bruce was his biggest fan, even though he constantly spoke about him, saying that he wanted to sign him when he was at, you know, other clubs, and then obviously give him a new deal. But he wasn't getting the game time, and then under Eddie Howe, he isn't being given that chance again. I don't know what the situation is. Nobody knows, let's face it. But I feel like it is harsh on him, because I think there has been spells where he has came into the side and he's done okay, been unfairly dropped at times too. And look, in the situation we find ourselves in currently, there's no harm in playing him, but I think we've just got to accept he's not going to be given that chance.
Simon, you're not happy, are you? It's a disgrace that Bruno isn't playing. He could have easily replaced Murphy or Wood, and with his guile and craft for sure would have created or even scored more goals. Simon, trust Howe. Trust Eddie Howe. Please trust him. Honestly, it'll come good. Bruno will get in that team at some point, and when he does, I don't think anybody will get him out. Wood was pivotal in many of attacks, back to goal, lots of headers and flick-ons. Did okay, better than Antonio. Jeff, good point, mate. Again, I didn't see the full game, so I can't agree or disagree. But you know me, I'm a Wood fan, Jeff. I am a Wood fan. I do like him, so fingers crossed. You know, he gets that goal sooner rather than later. Roger says, who would miss out for Wilson with Wood? Good question. And again, if we had a crystal ball, I'd be able to answer that. But it's not that easy, is it? Because it's horses for courses. There could be injuries. There could be suspensions. It's very difficult to say. If you were saying on yesterday's performance, you know, or yesterday's squad or team, you know, who would be playing? It's hard to say. I think Wilson will be a starter, and I think he'll be playing alongside Wood. But it depends who's available, so it's a very difficult question to answer. John says, is Wood not delivering what anyone might have expected? We knew he wasn't top class, and all we can ask for is total commitment. He can't offer more, and it's up to Eddie regarding the team selection. It's a fair point, Holly.
Yeah, like, you know, obviously, like I've said, he has constantly shown that fighting attitude. You know, he is given 100% in games, might not be getting the end product, which is unfortunate, but for now, we've got to persist with him. We've got to obviously get behind him. And then when someone like Callum Wilson becomes available, or if we get a new striker in the summer, which is more capable, then they can come in and replace Wood. But for now, we need to just put all of our support behind Chris Wood.
I like this, Mark. He goes, marks for new signings so far since playing this season. Trippier 10, Burn 9, Target 7.5, Wood 3. Bruno can't comment as haven't seen him enough. What about you guys? Trippier 11, Burn 10, Target 9, Wood 7, and Bruno, I would agree, you cannot really judge him.
For me, very, very similar. You know, I'd say Trippier got to be a 10, if not higher. Burn's got to be probably another 10. Target 8 or 9, and then probably Wood. I'd give him a 4 or a 5.
Okay, and you can't comment on Bruno, which is fair enough because he hasn't had enough time. Peter Robson says, I'm fine with Bruno not making the starting lineup as you don't fix what isn't broken. As for Wood, his inclusion actually works by occupying defenders and freeing up others to get opportunities. Which I said that last week, Peter. I've got to be honest. Rest in peace, Blackie. Top bloke. Good to hear the news coming this morning. Mark, it's awful. It is absolutely awful. Wishing you health to the family, Steve. Sorry to hear about your mum. Thank you very much for that. Been lots of messages like that, and I did mention this earlier, but thank you again. Will Dan Burn be this Newcastle era's killer kill client to help with the relegation survival? That's a great question, Jersey Mag. I had a feeling it was going to be Trippier who was going to be that signing, but after watching Big Dan Burn, 100%. What do you think about that, Holly?
Yeah. Obviously, Trippier has played a big part. He's got an injury now for a few weeks. Hoping it's not too long. But obviously, Dan Burns came in and he's just been probably one of the best. Obviously, it's only been 2 games, so we can't say too much. But based on those 2 games, he's probably been one of the best centre backs we've had in 6 years, in my opinion. So for me, keeps playing like that, then undoubtedly he's going to massively make an impact in this season and will go down as one of the players that helped us stay up.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've just got a feeling that we could really be in the top 10 by the end of the season. I can't see us. I genuinely can't see us, going on a bad run before the end of the season. I think we'll be fine, and it's just exciting. It really is, Jersey bag. But Dan Burn could be the killer Kilcline. Maybe it's Trippier as the Barry Venison. Good morning, great point. We deserved more. All thoughts are with you and your family, Steve. Thank you, Ian. And because I got wrong off Holly last week, I'm on the ball this week, and I think Holly knows exactly what I'm talking about. Rate war plate. Here we go, Holly. So this week's wonderful delicacy is...
Oh my God.
Biscuits and gravy. Now that's custard cream smothered in lovely hot gravy. What a delight that is.
And some bourbons in there.
Bit of bourbons, a bit of custard cream, and some lovely thick beef gravy on top. What's your thoughts about that?
My thoughts is why, and is that person okay that decided to eat that?
Okay, I'm sure the viewers will have an opinion. Look, I think this is great, and I'm gonna give this a yes. I mean, look, I'm happy to go with bourbons and custard creams with some gravy on, but I think what we need is we could have a little bit of variety. I mean, maybe there's a Jaffa cake in there. Maybe we could have a couple of different biscuits, one of each. Maybe a ginger snap, a digestive, a bourbon, custard cream, a jammy dodger, and what else? Let's think. A hobnob.
I'm sorry, but meat and sugary things shouldn't go together, though. Well,
you haven't tasted it. You haven't tasted it yet.
True.
I mean, it could be nice, that. It could be nice. Tim Kent is going seriously. Jeff saying it's not a vegetarian option. Andrew Bygate says, proper meal, that. Dave will love that, Holly. Tom just says, no way, biscuits and gravy. I'd eat that, but I'm off sugary biscuits, says Andrew. Stick your curry sauce on there, Steve, says Tim. Seriously, that is gross, says Alistair Carlton. Okay, it seems like it's a resounding no from the chat. Holly, what about you? Would you be up for that?
Look, I'm one of those people. I'll try anything once, but do I think that's a good idea? No.
Okay, well, we're going to put that through, Holly. So add that to the list. Biscuits and gravy is going in.
I suppose it's a bit of a variety, isn't it? Breaking it up.
It's a bit of variety. God knows what we'll have next week. Thanks for whoever sent that in. So yes, if you've got a rate war plate idea, get it over to me. Inboxes though, do it secretly. Send it in some secret way so Holly can't see it. And then well, let's have a bit of variety. That was a good one, that, because it was something we'd never had before. It's been chips and this and that and the other, but that was a bit of originality there, and it's got everybody talking. So I wonder whether anybody will be dipping a custard cream into their Sunday lunch this afternoon. Hit the thumbs up, everybody, says John. Rachel says, well, my new football superstitions will continue. Not predicting scores, wearing a particular Newcastle shirt, not listening to the match on the studio, and having my mate update me on Messenger. Wow, Rachel. Is that the reason that things have turned around, Holly?
I'm not a superstitious person, but I know most people are. I know you've got your superstitions as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we went through the turnstile, I wanted to go through 52 because that was the year that we won the cup. I mean, I have got some daft ones. It's the way you walk to the match, the different things that you wear. I mean, anybody in the chat, we've got about 15 minutes left. You know, drop in any of the superstitions you've got because Rachel's got hers and they clearly seem to be working. Daniel Kane says the only letdown is we miss a goal scorer. Dan Burn for me was man of the match. Guess what Simon Natras is talking about? Peter, we could have won yesterday with Bruno on instead of Wood or Murphy. He's still going on about Bruno playing. Simon, we get the point, mate. I think it's great that you want him on. I hope he's as good as you imagine he's going to be. I think he will be. Matthew says, "What's your thoughts on the rescheduled games? 4 games in 9 days, Holly."
It is crazy. I mean, Southampton away on a Thursday night at like 7:30. Like, it's absolutely mad. You won't be able to get home. If you're going to go down, you're going to have to stay there overnight.
I have to stop at Del Lovells. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, but it is mad. I mean, we always kind of, get probably the worst end of the stick with the fixtures, but I'll probably try and get to them all. And if Newcastle are winning, then I'm not going to complain.
No, definitely not. With 4 games in 9 days coming up, hopefully Bruno will get a couple of starts and we can glimpse the future. I think that will certainly please Simon. Tom says, we are much improved under Howe. Maxi, Trippier and Wilson missing. Matched West Ham, looked more confident and dominant onwards and upwards. Marty says, the thing is, the World Cup for Bruno in December, he will want to start playing games. Plenty of time before then. And as we say, I think he will feature quite heavily when he does get in. 3 for Wood. Are you kidding me, says Gary McBurney. You need to watch him more and not the score sheet, says Gary. I would agree, Gary. Yeah, I said 7, mate. I said 7. Vince Smith says, Bruce doing well, taking West Brom straight to the bottom. Yeah, when he did say he was going to get them out of the division, he just didn't say which way. Yeah, it was so funny. I put a little video out, which I'd kept actually, of Steve Bruce, which was quite funny with just a little bit of gobbledygook on the end from Jim Carrey, and that's done about 20,000 views. People howling. I did tag West Brom in it, so I don't think it went down too well with their fans. Sunderland are out of the playoffs, says Mark. Steve Bruce showing his managerial skills, and Eddie Howe showing what a proper coaching team and hard work on the training ground can do. Yeah, the Mackens, dear me, the slide continues. A draw with Wimbledon and then MK Dons beating them 2-1 and Connor Wickham, their former player, scoring the goal. And they've got 25 owners that nobody knows. It's the team that keeps on giving. Totally agree. Eddie Howe shows lots of class and pride in the job, says John. Roger says, good question, Matthew. Planned for us to have another challenge. Ian. Sad news this morning about Stephen Black. Yes, we'll mention that. Blackie, God bless him. Jason says, people being picked on merit by Howe is class, not upsetting a winning midfield and keeping Jamal on the bench. Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of people were hoping Jamal would still be on the bench yesterday, and he was, Holly.
Yeah, he was. You couldn't have brought him back into that side. I mean, yes, he is the captain, but ultimately, how good has Dan Burn been since he's came into the side? Fabian Schär did very well again. So you can't bring Jamal Lascelles back into the side, and I don't think anyone's going to miss him because, quite frankly, across probably 2 seasons, he hasn't been the best. He did improve a little bit past few games, Leeds and stuff like that. I will give him that, but nowhere near the levels Dan Burn's been playing in the past 2 games.
Dean's asking, do you think Shelby could get an England call-up if he carries on in this outstanding form?
I think he's a little bit too old, unfortunately, to get into the England side, but I would love to see it. Now,
the trolls will be calling you ageist now, Holly. They'll be saying, you're ageist for saying that. I think it's an outside bet, put it that way. I wouldn't say that he's got an opportunity to get in the England squad, but never say never. Newcastle continue in the same way, shape and form. You never say never. Was just thinking exactly the same. Manager of the month curse, as John obviously talking about what we mentioned before. Kraft is a poor player. His positional sense and awareness of what's around him is non-existent. Cost us a needless free kick. Gave the ball away on numerous occasions, says Bede. Yep, but we've got a 1-1 draw against a team chasing Champions League football. Go, keep your faith in Howe. We need a goal scorer. Wood's trying big time, but there were plenty of crosses for him yesterday. 14 in total, and he needs to get onto one, says Daniel. Top sledging by Wood, says Jeff. Morning all, great team performance and Chris Wood being catty, says Tim Cairns. Joe Willock was man of the match by a country mile. He was class yesterday, says Ian. Mankman, says Steve, just dropping in to see a cracking result for you yesterday. Hope you're okay, mate. Hope you're well, mate. And interesting about Ronaldo. Looks like he could be on his way out of Old Trafford as well, mate. Good luck today. Can you say that Wood expressed a preference to take the urine out of Zuma? Gary, I think so. 100%. Wouldn't change the formation, Steve, even if Callum Wilson comes back. I would take Chris out for Wilson, and that's it, says Daniel. Interesting suggestion. I think 100% they will play together at some point, but let's see. Kraft is the Swedish international and will fill in for now, says Tim. Yeah, I think Manquillo will be back next week, though. And Bede hopes Manquillo is going to be fit soon. Do you two think that you will see Trippier again this season? Seen various reports saying yes and some saying no. I believe we will, Roger. Holly?
Yeah, I do. I think he'll probably be out for around 6 weeks, if I was a guessing person, which means that he'll probably be back for the last kind of month and a half or so of the season. So, yeah, I do think we'll see him again. I hope we see him again because it'd be so disappointing if we didn't.
Shelby in the England squad, laughing my, says Ballast Warlock. Funnier things have happened. There's been some strange old call-ups over the years, and you never know. You never know. Serious question. Is the Tyne Wear derby dead, says John? Should we look at them like Hartlepool or Gateshead and wish them well? With what's to come if we play in the Cup, they will be a minnow. Wow, John. Great question. They're only one division above Hartlepool, John. So, yes, that is the way we should look at them, is my honest opinion. Holly?
I agree, but I wouldn't wish them well.
Okay, classic.
Personally.
Rich says, Stephen Ollie, who would be on your list for summer signings? I'd go for Connor Cody and James Ward-Prowse. I think they'd be great additions. Definitely Cody for me. I think that's a great shout. I called it last transfer window, and I think he would love to come to Newcastle and play alongside Big Dan Burn. I've got to be perfectly honest. I think for me, we've got to get a strike. We've got to get a goal scorer in. And that is got to be the priority. We need another goal scorer. We need two, really. Need two good goal scorers to come in. But I still think another midfielder as well. I'd love to see us get a big name midfielder who plays in the Premier League now. If it was Dreamland, I'd love to see De Bruyne. I love James Maddison, and I like Tielemans. But if it was for me, if money was no option and the player was going to come, I'd take Kevin De Bruyne tomorrow. I think he would be ideal fit for Newcastle United. I would scour the continent and bring in a really good goalkeeper as well. You know what? Kasper Schmeichel, for me, I know he's getting on, but he's still a great keeper. And I think bring him in for a 2-year contract at Newcastle. And, for him to play out his best days, his final days at Newcastle, I think that would be a great signing. He's such an organiser, big unit. So Kasper Schmeichel and maybe De Bruyne. The forward's so difficult. We've got to get that right. Got to get that right. Take a chance on bringing in a young striker like we did with Andy Cole, someone who's got promise, and bring in an established name. But those are my players. What about you, Holly?
I'd like to see us probably bring in a couple of more defenders, probably a right and a left back. I'd like to see us get in, potentially another centre back, but I think a right and a left back I'd like to see. Obviously, we've got like Kieran Trippier and stuff, but I still think we need probably one or two in those positions just to cover. A goalkeeper, again, I'd agree. Martin Dubravka is my favourite player on the side, but he is obviously 30 now, and we need someone to come in to try and challenge Dubravka as well. If it was a dream signing, and I apologise for not knowing his name, but I'd go for the Italy international goalkeeper because I think he's probably the best goalkeeper I've seen in kind of the Euros. He was outstanding. Let's be honest, he was brilliant. So for him, yeah, and I'd agree, midfield, Kevin De Bruyne, that would be a dream. I mean, he's my favourite player outside of Newcastle. Everyone knows that. We were having this conversation last night, me and my dad. He's outstanding. So if we could get him, I'd love it. And then again, with strikers, I think that has to be the hardest position. Obviously, you'd want to see us bring in someone through the ranks. That's a few years off. But bringing in an established name, yeah. But I'd also love to see us get a complete outsider who not many people's heard of, and he just hits the ground running. And I know it's not that realistic, but it can happen. And I'd love to see that because I don't want to get someone that's he's got so much history with this club, so much history with that club. I want it to just be a fresh new era,
Yeah, Mozza, she says that if Palace get through to the next round of the Cup, our game will be postponed, which will take a bit of pressure off those 9 days. Great shout. Let's hope they do. Give the Mackhams an out, 100%, says Rachel. I don't think the Tyne Wear derby is dead. With the direction the clubs are going in, Sunderland versus Gateshead could be on the cards in the coming years. Great point, Tom. Always rely on you with a good one like that. Do you think Nketiah would have been a better temporary striker compared to Woods?
To be honest, probably maybe, but who knows? Like the thing is with Chris Wood is, I think obviously he's got that Premier League experience, and he played for a team in Burnley, which is very like, they really get stuck into games. They're a very physical side, and I think that's why we went for Wood, and that's what he offers. That's different, so I can understand he's a different type of player, but it probably wouldn't have been much in it, and I'm happy with Chris Wood if that was the alternative.
Yeah, okay. The players we missed out in January, do you think we'll go back in for them? I think we will. I think Botman and Carlos would still like to come to Newcastle, but I think we'll only go for one of them. And as for forwards, etc., I think they'll be doing their homework now. Dan Ashworth's coming in. He's going to have his own ideas as well, isn't he, Holly?
Yeah, he is. That's something that'll help us out a lot more in this window. We did very well in January, obviously without a director of football, but it's going to make it so much easier to do business in the summer with Dan Ashworth. And then obviously with Botman as well, I hope that we get him, because I'd love to see him at Newcastle.
John says it's sad. There's real for their real fans, but 5 years we will be light years ahead of them. Most teams, if we ever play them in the future, it's going to be like City versus Rotherham. It's a good point. Anybody else find it funny that the relegation battle is now between 7 or 8 clubs, with everybody previously thinking that the bottom 4 were way worse than the other clubs? Benny, it's hilarious. Well, it is, isn't it, Holly? But that's football. It changes so quickly.
Yeah, it does. I mean, like 1 week you see multiple teams having a bad run of form and you think, right, that's the season done. And then you'll see the teams that are maybe in around the mid-table start to drop off, going towards the bottom 3, and the teams that are around the bottom 3 start to win games and go up. That's football. You can't predict it. And same at the top end of the table as well. You might see teams that are in Champions League spots and then will start to lose games and end up mid-table. I mean, look at Everton. That's got to be the biggest shock of the season for me.
Yeah, should never have took Rafa there, ever. Worst idea in anyone's mind, that taking him there. Stephen, Holly, would you sign any free agents in the summer? Well, I would, if they're good enough.
Yeah, of course. Got to. I mean, why not take advantage of something like that?
Summer is going to be exciting, Roger. Brian, yes, Bruce is doing a great job at West Brom, no doubt about it. The players will be enjoying it. They're getting 3 days off a week. What is Mo Salah doing in the summer? Well, Jeff, I mean, you'd love somebody like that, wouldn't you? It'd be fantastic to bring in one of their strikers, somebody who isn't getting a game on a regular basis. It'd be fantastic. But look, you just got to have complete trust now in our club. It's a different beast. It's going to be exciting whoever we'll bring in. There isn't many strikers, Paul. You're right. Class words. Holly, surprise name, says Roger. Just talking about the players you were talking about. What about Brennan Johnson at Forest? It's the kind of players that you're talking about, or players that are, up and coming, maybe championship players who you just think's worth taking a gamble on. It's that kind of player that I would, you want the right fit. That's what Eddie Howe wants, and I think he'll have players already lined up. This is a professional outfit now. I'd like us to go for Son Heung-min from Tottenham. Watching him yesterday, he was quality. It says Tom again. Tottenham Hotspur, Holly, I don't think they're going to sell any players to Newcastle.
I don't, but going off what he said about Son, I think for the past few years he's been better than Harry Kane.
Yeah, Wood has been class for me. Helps us keep us up the pitch and bring support and players into games. He works and presses in a way that Wilson hasn't previously. Yeah, he does. He does the dirty work. He 100% does. Dean says he'd love to see Son at the Toon. I'm hoping this summer for hot weather, England win the World Cup. Toon signed Botman and Haaland sorted, says Andrew. Wood gets hardly any real chances. He won't score unless we start creating some space or cross better. Great show. Thank you, Rachel. If Diego Costa is free in the summer, would you sign him, says Tom? I don't think so. No. I think he would have been good for this window for a 6-month contract, but I wouldn't sign him. Not at that age. And
yeah, not once was safe.
Yeah, I'm getting accused of being ageist now, I bet. Pogba's up for grabs. No, thanks. No. Mo Salah might fancy 1 million a week at the Toon. Yeah, he might do. Avoid Pogba like the plague. That went down well. Pogba has stole wages at United. You're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. Harry Kane, why not? Why not in the future? Be a great addition. I think he'd love to come and break the record at Newcastle rather than breaking it at Tottenham. And then we'd have the top goal scorer again in the Premier League. Pogba is a problem. Let him be someone else's problem. Jeff Carter just asked Mo. He is taking a convertible on Route 66 and listening to the Beach Boys. That's what he's doing in the summer. Martial, Lingard, and Van de Beek, Mankman says. Well, Martial might still come to Newcastle. You never know. It might be. Before we're finished then, Holly, Brentford away next week. How do you see that going? What's your prediction?
I'm going to go for a win for Newcastle. I went for a win last week as well. I've seen a pattern here, but I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'll probably go. No, actually, I'll go 2-0. I was going to go 1-0. I'm going to go 2-0 in Newcastle. I think we will win. Love to see Martin Dubravka keep a clean sheet because I think that he did very well against West Ham. Could have done better for that goal, arguably, but made some great saves and certainly, had a good performance. So I'd just love to see him get that clean sheet. And yeah, I'll go for a 2-0.
Yeah, okay. Holly as well, congratulations. You've signed up for this with me, the Firewalk, as has John from QTech and I think a few others. Saturday the 14th of May, I am doing a Firewalk to try and break a world record. We're aiming for 1,500 people on this. And you just need to go to the website, www.wrfirewalk.co.uk. So www.wrfirewalk.co.uk. And if you want to join our team, the NUFC Matters team, then join Team Wraith by entering code NUFCM at the checkout and join us on that world record firewalk attempt. And the end of season do is available on Voucher and Groupon. So get yourself onto Voucher or Groupon and get your ticket. For that, it's an evening with Viva Morrissey, June the 17th. And that will be a cracking night. And I think the tickets are around about £7 on Voucher or Groupon. And all proceeds for that night go to the food bank. And don't forget, well, I've got the T-shirt up for grabs on my Twitter at Steve Wraith. Again, all proceeds go to the food bank off that. If Carlsberg did football club owners, T-shirt. And me and Dad will sign the T-shirt. So get your bids in now at Steve Wraith on Twitter. And helps raise some much-needed funds for the food bank. Holly, I haven't had a call from Chris yet. Me and you might be together again tomorrow, or with Pete on the on the 5-minute rant. So we might be back together tomorrow. If not, I will see you again next weekend. Take care, Holly.
You too. Bye.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's